Hey YouTube, today we have two entitled parent stories. The first one is about an entitled mom that loses child custody because she was caught on camera doing something only an entitled mom can do. The second story is about an entitled mom that treats her daughter like a modern slave. If you are enjoying these videos, don't forget to subscribe for more videos like this. Without further ado, let's start the story time. Entitled mom caught on camera loses child custody. This happened about 4 years ago. I was 21 at the time. I worked in a tire factory and it was a pretty sweet deal. Check in, do your job, check out, no mess. We'll take a short 20 minutes breaks every 3 hours or so. One time, after going out for some fresh air, I was trying my then recently purchased Arctic laser when I noticed there was a mother and a son of about 8 years of age and somewhat 20 yards away. The kid runs at me and says, "Hey mom, look, it's a laser, can I try?" "Sure, go ahead," while getting closer. No, not really. This is actually dangerous. It even has a child-proof system. What? Aren't you a little old to be playing with lasers? Just give it to him and stop being selfish. My age isn't relevant to this discussion. I won't give anything to a kid. She goes crazy and interrupts. "I don't care. Listen here, you little shit. Who do you think you are to say no to my boy?" "Madam, it's actually for his own safety. This is very dangerous." Entitled mom then tries to grab and take it from me. Entitled kid starts kicking. I then push him away so he stops, but he immediately starts crying. "See what you did? You just hit my kid." The security guy occasionally passes by and the entitled mom throws a fit. "Call the police now. I want to press charges. He molested my child and stole his laser toy." I saw the whole thing from distance. This is not his toy. "May I ask why you are here in the factory grounds anyway?" "My husband's manager's name is the boss. I'm going to have both your asses fired by tomorrow. I'm also having you jailed for stealing my son's property and hitting us." She then rips one sleeve of her blouse and messes her hair and calls someone. Manager's name: "Honey, please come help me. I'm so scared. One of your employees just stole from entitled kid's name and assaulted us." Screams, pretending I'm doing something to her. "Let me go. I'm so scared. Please come quick." This whole time the security guards just looks astonished. And when her husband comes, he explains. "Hey sir, I was here the whole time and he did not hurt your son or wife in any way." "Well, are you sure? Look at how she is." "I'm positive. Still, if you want to confirm, we can look at camera B2 and B7 as they survey specifically this area." "Okay, I'd like to see them." At the moment, entitled mom realized she was being filmed the whole time. She tried getting out of it, trying to defuse her husband's willingness to see the tapes. You know what, honey? We just leave it at that. Can we just go home? I'm exhausted and don't want to extend this any longer." "I urge you to see the tapes, as accusations your wife made are very serious." Manager: "Yes, we should see the tape." After seeing the tapes in private, the manager profusely apologized and decided to promote me one level up. He said he had an idea that it was a lie, because she was a diagnosed sociopath and mythomaniac. After a week or so, he confessed me that was the last he could take from her, and that he was divorcing her and requesting full custody of the child as she was unstable and unfit to raise a child. In the process of divorce that happened during the course of the next couple of months, the manager discovered she was cheating on him with her co-worker. Also, somehow figured out what my number was and called to apologize. She said she was trying to get back to her family and she regretted doing what she did. I told her to go F herself. Poor manager, you could see he was a good guy that just happened to have bred the wrong crazy lady and was paying for his bad decision. Entitled aunt claims adult child has to obey her because it's the law. My aunt was always playing the big shot of solving people's problems, but using my cousin as the actual person to take on the problem, always for free. If someone insisted on paying, entitled aunt kept the money. Need a babysitter, a ride, house cleaned, yard mowed, errands run? Oh, my daughter can do it. As far as my aunt was concerned, the only reason Emily existed was to cater for her. Emily was her ultimate trophy, Entitled aunt was entitled long before it became a huge thing. Cost: EA, entitled aunt. Emily, cousin. Mike, Emily's boyfriend. Me, Acer. PO1, police officer 1. PO2, police officer 2. Judge. My aunt has always been entitled. It's her personality type. My mother couldn't stand her little sister, so we tried to avoid her, while still maintaining contact with her husband and child. My uncle, their brother, lived further away south in the state, so we always tried to avoid entitled aunt, knowing when we were visiting. On this trip, I was staying with my cousin for a couple of weeks in the summer, and we were going to do tourist things. Entitled aunt thought that the university not being in session meant that cousin was slave labor. One day, Emily decided that enough was enough. She was supposed to run errands for a friend of entitled aunt and had told her mother she had plans. Her mother, as usual, acted as though Emily had agreed and expected her to comply. Emily just didn't run the errands for the friend as demanded. It was that simple. My mother and I arrived about 10 minutes before the phone rang. Entitled aunt called, and though this was back during landlines, she was screaming so loudly that both my mother and I could hear both sides clearly. "How dare you embarrass me with my friends? You call Mr. No Name and apologize immediately. You are grounded for a month and you may not drive the car at all. Now you make that call and go run those errands now." If anyone can explain how she was supposed to do this without using the car, I would like to know. Emily: "Mom, I'm 22, I do not live in your house, you do not pay my bills, and you do not own my car. Run the errands yourself, I have plans." My mom was a little nervous leaving us at that point. It's a mom thing and she has met her sister thing, even though we were both fine. She left just after meeting Emily's boyfriend. We left and we went to a water park and a few other things. We got back to the house and we were talking about where to have dinner. Mom insisted on paying for us to go someplace really nice for dinner that night. We get back and Emily's car is gone. She called and asked where it was. "Mom, do you have my car?" "Yes, I do. Your father brought me over so I could check and see if you had obeyed me. I told you that you were grounded and you were not there when I arrived. I'm keeping the car for a month, but I'm going to let Mrs. No Name borrow it because you have been so horrible to her." "Mom, that's stealing. I want my car back now or I'm going to report it stolen." "No, Mr. No Name can't drive my car." "I am your mother. What I say goes, Missy. You need to learn some respect and to get it through your head that I'm in charge and you are the child. You don't own anything. It's mine because I'm your mother. The police will likely arrest you for wasting their time." Emily hangs up and looks at me. She is so angry and she is crying in rage. "Acer, if I call the police, she's going to know you are here." Me, I can live with that. That fallout is a whole other story. She picks up the phone and calls the police. Tells them the car has been taken without her permission and where it is. Mike drive us over there. We do not want to miss the show. Police officer knocks on the door. Entitled aunt answers. "Hello officers, do you need something?" "Madam, the vehicle in the drive matches the description and location of a vehicle reported stolen." "It's my car. I took it from my daughter because she's grounded from using it for being disobedient and disrespectful." "I see. May we have a word with her, please?" Entitled aunt looking very smart. "She doesn't live here." Police officer 1, who had noticed us across the street. "You three, come over here, please." "Did one of you call us?" "I did. It's my car, officer. My mother seems to think that she has control over it and me." Entitled aunt: "It's my car. I'm your mother and you have to obey me. It's the law. Tell her, officers." "Actually, madam, there's no such law. Your daughter is an adult." "There most certainly is such a law. I'm going to report you to your chief for not knowing it. I may even sue." Police officer to cousin: "May I see the car registration and your license, please?" Emily hands them to him. "Madam, this car is registered in the name of your daughter and only your daughter. It's her car and you'd have no right to drive it." Entitled aunt looks at the registration the officer is showing her and then snatches Emily's license from him and slams the door. The police officers look at each other for a moment and then shrug and ring the bell again. Entitled aunt answers it, looking very smug. Madam, I'm going to need you to return the license now. Entitled aunt hands him the license that she has cut into several pieces. Now she can't drive because she doesn't have a license. She looks at Emily as though she just scored some odd victory. Then she finally notices me. Hey sir, what are you doing here? Just trying to have a nice visit with my cousin. She has hated me for years. You need to leave. I didn't give you permission to visit. Where's your mother? I don't need your permission. My mother is not here. I can travel without her. Madam, you are under arrest for destruction of government property. Apparently, cutting up a valid license is a felony in some places. Who knew? And grand theft of this car. You can't arrest me. I'm her mother. I have rights. Yes, you do. He then reads them to her. The officer explains to us that until she destroyed the license, he had been willing to issue an appearance ticket. Then instead of being arrested, she would just have had to appear in front of the judge and get a fine. This was a much bigger deal. Emily ran into the house to tell her father what had happened. We all chatted for a little bit until the phone rang. It was entitled aunt telling him to call their attorney. We left, I drove the car back to Emily's and took her to get her license replaced the next morning. The attorney called by my uncle apparently didn't know my aunt, and he showed up at the first hearing a week later to try and get it dismissed. It looked to be going her way at first. Your Honor, this is a family matter. It's simply a case of mother disciplining her child and the child calling the police because her mother grounded her from using the car. So she got mad and called the police, and she, not knowing that it was a crime to destroy the license, did so? Yes, Your Honor, that's pretty much it. Prosecutor, do you have nothing better to do today? No, Your Honor, I don't. I consider it rather important. When a 22-year-old woman has her car stolen, it doesn't matter who stole it. She has just as much of a right to justice as someone who has their car stolen by a stranger. 22? The victim is 22? Yes, Your Honor, the victim is a 22-year-old woman who is the sole owner of the vehicle in question. Her mother became enraged at her daughter. She then went to her daughter's home, stole her car, and later destroyed her license. Your Honor, I was not aware of the age or living situation of the victim. I was under the impression that the child was a minor who resides with her parents. Entitled aunt was sitting there, still looking smug. Her attorney was sweating bullets. Entitled aunt, do you realize that these are very serious charges, and if convicted, you'll face up to 8 years in prison? For what? I have the right to discipline my child as I see fit. She disobeyed me. She will think twice before doing it again. No, you don't. You have the right to discipline your child within the confines of the law. You have stepped outside of that parameter. You stole your daughter's car. I'm her mother, it's my right. It isn't really theft because she is my child and her property belongs to me by law. Where did you get your law degree? I don't have one. Then let me first explain to you that your child is a legal adult, period. You have no right to anything of hers without her express consent, period. You may not take her car without her permission, period. You may not enter her home without her permission, period. Do you understand that? You don't know what you're talking about. I'm her mother. That gives me the right. I'm in charge. No, madam, I'm in charge. This case will be held over for trial. I went home a week later. Entitled aunt eventually took a plea deal where she had 2 years probation and had to take parenting classes. The parenting classes were Mike's idea and the prosecutor thought it was great. We laughed hysterically over that because my cousin is an only child, lol. Emily and Mike married a year later and moved the hell away from there. This took place about 30 years ago. Entitled aunt maintained for the rest of her life that the judges, there were 5 for different status hearings, didn't know what the hell they were doing, and she was right. So those were the stories for today's video. Have you ever experienced something like this before? Let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, a like would be highly appreciated. It really does help my channel out. Also, if you enjoyed this and want to stay up to date on the latest videos, then don't forget to subscribe. Thanks for listening, and I will see you in the next video.